afternoon. We are going to start reading Hanukkah stories as we celebrate the great holiday. This is the story of Hanukkah. It begins in Israel a long time ago when it was called Judea. At that time, the Jews who lived there were farmers and shepherds. On holidays, they all went to the most beautiful temple in Jerusalem. The temple was on top of a mountain and called the House of God. Its gates were covered in gold and silver. Inside was a new light that always burned. For a long time, all the Jews lived in peace, although they did not rule their own land. A Greek came, Antiochus IV. He became king. He tore down the walls of Jerusalem, and thousands were killed. Anyone who lit Shabbat candles, or studied the Jewish law, or refused to bow to Greek idols was put to death. The king's men came to the town of Modin. They demanded that Mattathias, an old priest, worship one of their gods. Mattathias refused. He threw down the idol and called out, "Whoever is for the Lord our God, follow me." Matthias ran to the hills. His 5 sons and many other Jews all followed him. Antiochus' army chased after Matthias, but when the soldiers came near, brave Jews hiding behind large rocks and inside caves attacked, and then they ran back to the hills and hid again. Mattathias and his followers were farmers and shepherds, but they fought like trained soldiers. When Mattathias died, his son Judah became their leader. Judah was called a Maccabee, which means the hammer. The people who fought with him were called Maccabees. The king's armies came with bows and arrows, swords and horses, and armored elephants. But they were not able to beat the Maccabees. In the final battle, there was more than 6 armed soldiers to each Maccabee. But still, the mighty army of Antiochus was beaten. Judea then led the Maccabees back to Jerusalem. The Maccabees cried when they saw the destruction of the temple and it was filled with garbage. They cleaned it. They built a new altar, new gates, new doors. When it came time to light the light, they found just one small jar of pure oil, only enough to burn for one day. But that oil burned for 8 days until more oil could be prepared. On the 25th day of the Hebrew month, Kislev, the temple became known as the House of God. Judah declared that every year on that date, the 8-day holiday would begin. The holiday was now called Hanukkah, which means dedication. It celebrates the day the temple was rededicated. That was more than 2,000 years ago. Today, all over the world, Jewish families celebrate Hanukkah by lighting candles, singing Hanukkah songs, and eating latkes, that's potato pancakes, and jelly donuts. Latkes and donuts are prepared in oil, which reminds Jews of the Hanukkah miracle. In many houses, people also exchange Hanukkah gifts. Children play games with a top called a dreidel. On each side of the dreidel is a different Hebrew letter. The first letter of the sentence, Nesgadal Hayasham, which means a great miracle happened there. And it happened in Jerusalem. Hanukkah celebrates one of the first fights for religious freedoms. Thank you so much.